Well, I think we'll go ahead and get started. Call this meeting to order.
Okay.
We have a small little group, and unfortunately, this was somewhat short notice getting this meeting going, which is not great, but kind of had to do what we had to do. I guess let me pull up the agenda here so we can go along here. For Monica, you're being relatively new to Mountain House and first meeting with the dog club. Our main purpose is to promote the socialization of dogs and proper care, raise awareness in issues concerning dogs, and bring about positive changes for dogs and their owners. Really, this club is what the members make of it. We have a lot of activity on Facebook, which is great. People posting questions, posting links to articles, funny pictures. I think that's all great, and I think that's really kind of a good part of what the club started out as. Just people sharing their love of dogs, and if people wanted to get together, making arrangements with other people in town, getting together with their dogs. The nonprofit was created specifically for the goal of getting a dog park in place sooner than the master planned dog park, which was really unknown. We now have a pretty good estimated date of 2019, I believe, 2018, 2019 of the permanent master plan park being in, but 6-7 years ago when the nonprofit was created by one of the previous boards, that date was really unknown. So getting an interim park in place required us to have a nonprofit status to work with the community services district to get that going. Like I said, it's other than that, it's really with it. And we're meeting tonight. Our highest priority is to get new officers in place, and it is volunteer based, but it's not a huge time commitment. So anyone considering it, it's probably for it to really succeed, maybe 4 to 6 hours a month, and that can range. There could be some months where there's a little bit more work, and then some months where there's not much at all. And again, it's how much is needed. If we've gone through periods of time where we've had more participation, and we've arranged dog walks and outings and whatnot, and then participation went down a little bit. So those things weren't happening as often. It's a little less work. But overall, I think, we do plan meetings every month, every other month. They're short. You kind of make some goals and action items, and everyone ideally just works together to get things done. So that being said, that's kind of our primary goal for meeting tonight, and to give everyone a little update on, the big unknown, which has been our drive for many years, of getting this dog park in place. And we achieved a really big goal, winning the $25,000 from PetSafe, which is not lost. I have been in contact with PetSafe there, where we had some delays. Getting any of this stuff done, it's taken for sure longer than we anticipated. One of the big things that we wanted to get done before we started construction on the dog park was get the location moved. when we submitted for the contest, we had an approved location, but it was for a temporary dog park. And the location was not really even in Mountain House. It was way out there, technically part of the future Mountain House, but it didn't make sense to put money into something that wasn't going to stay there. And right. Most importantly, we really felt like it would not get utilized being in that location. So we would.
Was that on the other side of the bridge?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So
yeah. Okay. Yeah, kind of where the potential skate park was going to be. Lots of things were going to be in that area, but have not come to fruition.
We're not the only
yeah. So we were able to get permission from Mountain House developers to use the land. In combination of working with them separately, the dog club and Mountain House developers, and then also through the course of Mountain House developers working through the town center plans and the community workshops they had a few years back, the dog park is officially in the town center plans for the extension of Central Park, which is great. It took a while, but it's another big achievement, I guess you could say. I think it being in that location, it totally makes sense. People will use it, So we have that, but I guess I should back up a little bit. Is aware that we had delays because of the location. They are aware that we have moved the location from the original application. We had a drought, although look what happened this year. It definitely wasn't a great time to construct a dog park with, half an acre of turf, so that was kind of not on our side. And, another thing that was rough is we've had a lot of turnover with the community services district. There were several people that we had been working with that, are no longer there for, few different circumstances. So it's tough. It's been a long process, and like I said, Monica before, we officially started the meeting. All the current officers, we've had a very busy few years, and it's been a little tough. To get things done, you really have to be at it all the time. Right. For lack of a better word, nag people.
Yeah.
And so, following up on things, maybe wasn't as often as it needed to be for things to move along quicker. But, it is what it is. And we're here now, and we're really hoping to get participation. Amanda and I think Jonathan, to correct me if I'm wrong, we're all willing to continue helping and be involved. But legally speaking, we do need to have new officers for the board, and we need this to keep our nonprofit status. We also need the nonprofit status to get the grant money from PetSafe. So that's super important.
Yeah.
Anything else to add there? I guess I should say, on a positive note, it's very possible, and we have been aiming to get the park done by the end of June, at least a phase 1, very simple version of there's fence, there's a surface material that dogs can run on, and we have the basic requirements to get the $25,000. It's very doable if we kind of really get in the mode of, okay, let's get this done. We also have materials and some volunteer or discounted labor that are available for us to use to help cut the costs, because contrary to what a lot of people think, even a very, very basic dog park, small basic dog park, takes more than $25,000 to build.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
That wouldn't even
It's pocket.
cover the cost of
We're
the
very
fence.
thankful. What's that?
That wouldn't even cover the cost of the fence, let alone clearing the land unless somebody donated, heavy equipment to clear the land.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's we're very thankful. We're thankful for all the hard work everyone put into winning the contest, and we're super thankful and grateful to PetSafe for that program, and it's great. But at the end of the day, we are going to need more, and I think we have a lot of that. We have a lot of it lined up, and it's just getting the ball actually fully in motion. We have not gotten any volunteers yet for officer positions, so we will be following up with an email, I think. You want to explain how?
Yeah,
we're
basically,
gonna run that?
we need volunteers for officers, and then we have to present those volunteers to our membership to vote on, which we'll probably just end up doing by email for simplicity's sake. So this meeting's being recorded, and I'll upload it, and I'll also send it out to our members. Hopefully they can view it. Hopefully, I know some people had expressed interest in the meeting but just couldn't attend tonight. So I'm hoping the next maybe couple of days we'll get some volunteers, kind of saying, hey, I'm interested. Here's what I want to do. And then voting done by email. So that's basically the process. Just we used to try to do in-person meetings, but logistically everyone's schedules it was kind of too hard to do in person. So we figured online, and just by email is the easiest way now.
Okay.
And then even going forward, planning in-person meetings doesn't have to be done every month. You could do them quarterly, once or twice a year. And, if you want to do an online meeting, it's very easy to do too. So, yeah, not a lot of
So how many officers are there, and do all the officers need to change out at the same time?
So yes, right now we are without a secretary, and our president is going to be relocating out of Mountain House soon. Myself, the VP, and our treasurer, I think we're kind of overwhelmed in our personal lives, and so we don't have the time that we did before to dedicate to the club. So we definitely still want to assist, where we can in the future. We're definitely not just throwing up our hands and saying we're done, but we definitely need people that are willing to kind of, what Fiona said earlier, to step up and be the squeaky wheel, so to speak. So basically the 4 positions, president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer, are the main ones that need to be filled.
Yeah, there's also, technically speaking, there's activities chair that has been vacant for a long time.
Yeah.
We've had people in and out of it. So, but according to the bylaws, there are 5 officer positions.
How many current members are there?
Currently we have it at 33. Whatever.
Yeah.
Cut out a little bit. How many?
32. So we have 32 official members.
Okay.
So
Okay.
officially, we're pretty still small. So
Yeah, we have a lot of people that are in the Facebook group, but as far as people that submitted their application, dues and whatnot, 32.
Okay.
So, are there any other questions that you had or could think of?
Is there anything, are there any like bylaws written, like whose responsibility is, like what the specific responsibilities of each position are?
On the website?
Yes, those are on the website and I believe the Facebook page. I guess either and or.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
gonna double check that, but I can email them over to you also.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Just
That'd be
tonight.
Okay, that's
And
good.
are there, the question I have is, are there official design plans for the dog park?
So we have a preliminary plan. It's just kind of a concept plan. And that's kind of for the phase one. So the way we are intending for this to all work out is, and this is still, we're still kind of awaiting for some confirmation from the CSD, who they're, we've been working with Mountain House developers, Dave Sargent, and then the CSD staff to, confirm all this and get this going. But what we hope to happen is Mountain House developers dedicate the land to the CSD, and they basically would own and operate the park until Mountain House Developers is ready to do what would be phase two of the park. So phase one would just be kind of fencing, a surface, maybe a water fountain, just the minimum to meet the requirement. And phase two will be this beautiful, just like all the other great parks in Mountain House, with way more amenities and shade and more trees and this, that, and the other thing. But it would be, rededicated back to Mountain House developers when they're ready to do phase two, which they've estimated at, let me double check before I say what year, although, again, this is an estimate. 2019 is the estimate for the kind of master planned dog park. So it would go back to Mountain House developers to get that part done, and then it would be just like any other park in Mountain House where the CSD maintains and operates it.
So are they responsible for the design of phase two?
Mountain House Developers is responsible for the design of phase two, but the design of phase one is really up to the dog club.
Okay.
So we have an area of land, and there's not really much to the design because of the costs involved and the simplicity that we need to kind of keep it minimal. So we've got boundaries. We can kind of adjust the shape a little bit here and there, but essentially it's here's the fence and an entry, separation for small dogs and large dogs, and what I think will be open to discussion and assessment of cost, but open to the members of what the surface material will be. We do have an offer of some mulch material that can be donated for a portion. It's not the ideal surface, but something that would be a good thing for people to vote on, and if we have other options, great, but if not, then it's at least something.
Yeah.
So okay, so you want to do phase 1 by this June?
Yep.
Do you
That's
know?
kind of we should have started construction last August, and it didn't happen, with delays, and so PetSafe was kind enough to give us an extension. I wasn't comfortable asking for a 5-year extension. We wanted to be realistic on what would be granted. So they're aware of the new location, which we have a coming soon sign, and everything's kind of lined up where it is really possible. It's a small enough area, and phase 1 will be straightforward enough that it wouldn't be a very long timeline. This could essentially get done very, very quickly once everything's in place. So it's not unrealistic by any means.
So and I hate that because unfortunately, I've done recently a lot of construction projects. Is permitting required through the county for this?
That's a great question. For this, it's actually not, because the land is already owned by Mountain House developers, and it's essentially putting up a fence, and the height of it doesn't exceed what the permit requirements are. What needs to happen still officially is for CSC to accept that land dedication and basically say, yes, we're going to own, operate, maintain it, which involves liability, insurance, all of that. So it's not out of the question, but there are things that need to happen on the CSD side of it.
Have they given any kind of preliminary feeling about whether they want this to happen, and they're gonna work positively towards this? And
yes, preliminary, yes. And I certainly don't want to put anything out there that's not formally confirmed or documented or not, but the general feeling is, yes, we want this to happen. We want to help. But to be quite honest, it's been tough to get responses, and it's been tough to firm everything up.
yeah, okay.
One last question on this. Do you know whether or not they need to do an environmental impact study?
No, that's not required.
Okay, so they can go in there and pull out the brush and any existing trees without. Okay.
Yeah, and the area has kind of been staked out, visually staked out. I think the idea was to get a surveyor to formally stake out the boundaries, but I've looked at the area with Dave a few times, and it's minimal work. There's definitely some brush to clear out. There's some grading to be done, but there aren't any big substantial trees or whatnot. I think at one point we were looking, if you're familiar with the area behind Central Park, there's kind of this big palm tree with some, so it's very close to that area, but we've talked about kind of shifting it so we wouldn't have to worry about that removal, because that right there would be a huge expense. And
Yeah.
really light impact.
Yeah, because my concern is you put a fence and that area back there is covered in foxtails, which I wouldn't risk my dog going into that field for anything.
That all would be cleared out for sure.
Yeah, cleared out and a path cleared because it, probably wouldn't be directly off the current parking lot area. So we'd have a little path cleared to the actual fenced off area, and everything inside would be
Okay.
clear.
Okay.